What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. Anthony Joshua, the WBA, IBF, and WBO heavyweight champion, returns to the ring this Saturday after over a year layoff. He's going to take on number one mandatory IBF contender Kubret Pulev, who is co-promoted by the Bob father, Bob Arum. And the question that's going to get answered on this video is, which Anthony Joshua are we going to see this Saturday? Are we going to see the aggressive, seek and destroy Anthony Joshua, who had dominated his opponents prior to the Vladimir Klitschko fight? Are we going to see the Anthony Joshua that we've seen since the Vladimir Klitschko fight, who's fought a very cautious fight, who's scared to get hit, who doesn't know if his chin is going to hold up, who's fighting very cautious, not willing to engage, not as aggressive, not as ferocious as he was before the Vladimir Klitschko fight? Are we going to see the Anthony Joshua who fought Andy Ruiz in a rematch, who basically tried to get the win, didn't try to look spectacular, didn't try to dominate Andy Ruiz like Andy Ruiz dominated him in the first fight, just wanted to get out there with a win and fought a very calculated Vladimir Klitschko style of fight? That's the question that's going to get answered this Saturday. That's what's making this fight intriguing. Just like last Saturday, we wondered how Errol Spence Jr. was going to bounce back from that horrific car accident against Danny Garcia, and he passed with flying colors, and he answered all those questions as he put on a spectacular performance against Danny Garcia. The question I want to get answered this Saturday is Anthony Joshua the same? Is he as ferocious? Because he can beat Kubret Pulev the same way he beat Andy Ruiz in that second fight. He could jab and grab, the old jab and grab Vladimir Klitschko style of fight, and put everybody to sleep by the 6th, 7th round. Or he can come out there and say, look, I'm back. The old Anthony Joshua's back. The guy that knocked out Dominic Brazil is back. The guy that knocked out Dillian White is back. The guy that knocked out Charles Martin is back. The guy that knocked out Eric Molina is back. The guy that destroyed Vladimir Klitschko and beat Vladimir Klitschko and stopped him is back. It seemed to me that he's dealing with a lot of ghosts from that fight, because he got dropped with a hard right hand in that fight. That was Vladimir Klitschko's signature point, and he was badly hurt. Before that knockdown, he had actually knocked down Vladimir Klitschko earlier in that fight. But the knockdown that he took was much more brutal knockdown. He was much more hurt than Vladimir Klitschko was hurt in the previous knockdown. And he pretty much didn't recover. It took him about a couple of rounds to basically get his gatherings back. Vladimir Klitschko made a fatal mistake, didn't jump on him. I think if he would have jumped on him, he would have knocked out Anthony Joshua. But I think he was just being his usual cautious self. And that's Vladimir Klitschko makeup. He's a cautious guy. He doesn't like to take any risk, take any chances. And he figured he could just pep him with the jab, and the right hand would be there all night, and he could probably win, maybe get him out of there later on in the fight, or win a decision like he's done in other fights. But he made a calculated decision and made a calculated mistake. And Anthony Joshua got his gatherings, got his legs back, and he was able to close the show being the more youthful fighter, being the guy that was throwing more punches, being more exuberant, and he was able to get Vladimir Klitschko up out of there. But since that fight, again, he's been very cautious. He's not the same fighter, ladies and gentlemen. Even in the wins, the Carlos Takam fight, that fight was aided by a corrupt referee, in my opinion. Referee helped out Anthony Joshua in that fight. They stopped that fight way too prematurely. Carlos Takam wasn't even hurt. Anthony Joshua suffered a broken nose in that fight, and he was going through it later on in that fight. He was having problems with Carlos Takam. Carlos Takam was coming on strong. Not to say Carlos Takam would have won the fight, but he was coming on strong. We don't know what would have happened. And the referee came in and saved the day for Anthony Joshua. After that fight, he was able to fight Andy Ruiz, and he got caught with a hook. He was hooking, and he hooked with a hooker and got caught and never recovered in that fight, and got knocked down multiple times and eventually stopped by the Michelin Man, Andy Ruiz. Came back in the rematch again, fought a very cautious fight. Like I said earlier, the old jab and grab, Vladimir Klitschko style of fight, and he was able to bore his way to a unanimous decision win. But now we need to find out, is he still dealing with those ghosts of Vladimir Klitschko's past? Or is he ready to get back to what he did earlier, what made him dominant, what made him special, what made him the top dog in the heavyweight division? Because right now he's not. It's Tyson Fury. And I don't even think he's number 2 in my opinion. I got Deontay Wilder as number 2 heavyweight. I got him number 3 heavyweight, despite having more titles than any other heavyweight in the heavyweight division. This fight is going to boil down to what style of fight Anthony Joshua implements. I think it's going to be a little bit of both, if you ask my opinion. I think he's going to still stick to that jab and grab style of Vladimir Klitschko if he feels in danger. But I think he's going to be a little bit more aggressive. I think he wants to make a statement. Because right now, nothing but the hardcore Anthony Joshua fans giving him any kind of chance to defeat Tyson Fury. You ask all the so-called boxing experts and boxing pundits, they're all saying that Tyson Fury is going to box circles around Anthony Joshua and eventually stop Anthony Joshua. So Anthony Joshua needs to put on a devastating performance, make a statement, and start swaying public opinion to say, hey, Anthony Joshua has a chance. He just had an off night in New York in the first fight with Anthony Ruiz. He's back to that guy that was a seek and destroy guy, the guy that threw combinations, the guy that had a good jab, guy had a devastating uppercut, guy had a devastating right hand, a guy that was a complete fighter, and a guy that had power in both hands. Is he going to get back to that fighter? If he can, then yeah, he's got a chance against Tyson Fury. But if he fights like he's been fighting in the last 2 or 3 fights since the Klitschko fight, he has no chance to beat Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder for that matter. Now this fight's going for Kubret Pulev is going to boil down to, Kubret Pulev is a guy that has great balance. I give him that, but he's basically a one-handed fighter. He's got the right hand. All Anthony Joshua's got to do is worry about that right hand. Take the right hand away. Circle to his right to take the right hand away. Make Kubret Pulev have to use the left hook. You know, Kubret Pulev jab is solid, but he's pretty much, in my opinion, especially late on, since the last couple of fights, he's pretty much used that jab as a range finder. Early on in his career, he had a decent jab, but to me, in the last several fights, he's using that jab as pretty much, hey, I'm just using this jab just to kind of be a range finder because I'm trying to load up on the right hand. He's a one-handed fighter. You know, the guy he's fought outside of Vladimir Klitschko leaves a lot to be desired. You know, Kubret Pulev hasn't really fought nobody. I'm just going to be real about it. He hasn't fought hardly anybody, especially early on in his career. He's fought a few names, but outside of Vladimir Klitschko, he hasn't fought one elite level fighter. Man, he's fought a bunch of journeymen, a bunch of, you know, basically, I don't never want to call him another professional fighter, no cab driver, ditch digger, but he's fought some journeyman level fighters basically throughout his career. And time he stepped up, he got knocked down. He got knocked out in devastating fashion versus Vladimir Klitschko. Couldn't get out the way of Vladimir Klitschko's left hook. That left hook, man, was his downfall in that fight. He couldn't get out the way of that left hook, and that's what Anthony Joshua, who I'm sure him and his team have been looking at the tapes of that fight. They're gonna be looking to set the left hook up. They know he's susceptible to the left hook, as I butcher that word. He's very that's his Achilles heel, is that left hook. Another thing that Kubret Pulev does that's kind of basic is when you're punching, he's basically keeps the high guard up. He's not punching with you at all. When you're throwing offense, he's straight defense. He's either straight offense or straight defense. He's not a switch hitter. He can't switch from offense to defense well. If you're throwing punches, basically all Anthony Joshua got to do is let his hands go and throw punches with mean intentions. He can win this fight pretty comfortably because Kubret Pulev is going to have his guard up. He's going to have his guard up, especially after what happened in that Vladimir Klitschko fight when he was knocked out in devastating fashion. He's a little bit more, he goes into a shell more often when you're throwing punches. When you're firing back at him, he's going to shell up, man. He's not going to be doing nothing but covering up. He does not want to get caught with that left hook because he see what happened in the Vladimir Klitschko fight, man. He just got dropped multiple times with the same punch. Didn't make any adjustments in that fight. He fought that fight very brave. You know, when he got knocked down, he was hurt bad. He got up, didn't have his legs, but he still stood there in front of Vladimir Klitschko and threw fire back at Vladimir Klitschko. The guy's got a lot of heart. He ain't no punk. I give him that. He ain't no punk. A lot of fighters, when they get dropped, they get hurt. They go into survival mode and they try to run around the ring and grab and hold on and everything like that. Now, he got right back up and got right back in Vladimir Klitschko's face and started returning fire. So that's one thing that he does. And that's probably might be his downfall Saturday against Anthony Joshua, because if Anthony Joshua is able to drop him, he's going to go back up and he's going to return fire. And that could be his downfall if AJ is the AJ of old. Now, AJ's got to be careful, because if he hurts Kubret Pulev, just like he hurt Andy Ruiz and he went in for the kill, he ended up getting caught with that hook. And that changed the whole outcome of that fight. He's got to be worried about Kubret Pulev. Kubret Pulev is a dangerous when he's wounded. He's a dangerous wounded animal. So if he hurts Kubret Pulev, he's got to come in there responsibly and try to close the show, but don't leave his chin up and be susceptible to that right hand that Kubret Pulev likes to throw. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what transpires. But I'm looking for AJ to fight a little bit like his old self and a little bit like how he's been fighting recently. I'm looking for a 9th round stoppage of Kubret Pulev. I think he catches him with the uppercut. That's his signature punch. Then he catches him with the uppercut and he finishes him off with the left hook. That's the punch that gives Kubret Pulev the most problem. Kubret Pulev's only chance to win this fight is to land that right hand. But what he's got to do is he's got to jab to the body. He's got to jab to the body, get AJ to drop his guard, and that'll set up the right hand. He's got to use the left hand too, because AJ is already ready for that right hand. He's already got the plan A ready to take away the right hand. So Kubret Pulev's got to show what he hasn't shown in his last several fights. That's the left hand. He's got to show that he's a two-handed fighter. Early in his career, he had a pretty good left hook, especially left hook to the body. He's got to implement that Saturday against AJ. When AJ is looking for that right hand, drop that left hook to the body and drop that left hook to the head. And get AJ to say, oh man, he does have more than the right hand. I got to kind of worry about this left hook. You got to hurt him with that left hook. You got to hurt him with that left hand. And then when he's worried about that left hand, then you can come with your money punch, which is the right hand. That's the punch that you've got most of your knockouts with. That's your number one shot to make history and pull the upset and upset the upper card of an AJ Fury fight that everybody's been talking about that's going to take place in 2021, provided that Anthony Joshua gets by Kubret Pulev this past Saturday. We'll see what happens and we'll see what transpires. And on that note, I'm not sure Anthony Joshua, if he does beat Kubret Pulev, fights Tyson Fury next. Tyson Fury was invited to come to the fight this Saturday, but he's turned it down. Maybe he knows that Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn are not really serious about fighting him next, and that they all along is going to fight Alexander Usyk, who's already stated that he's not going to step aside for AJ Fury. He wants AJ now, and he's going to be knocking on the WBO door and hoping they answer and say, look, it's your turn. It's your time to shine. It's your time to get your just due, your well-deserved shot at Anthony Joshua, and we're going to order that fight. And if Anthony Joshua doesn't take that fight, he's going to get stripped. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what transpires. But don't overlook this scenario. This scenario could take place. They could agree to make AJ versus Fury, provided that the winner fights Alexander Usyk next. That could be the compromise, because they was already talking about a 2-fight deal with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. They're going to fight twice. The first fight probably being in the Middle East, but they got big money they ready to throw up for that fight, and then the second fight being in the UK. But if they're not able to get that Alexander Usyk situation settled, that then look for, if it's a compromise, look for the winner of Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury to fight Alexander Usyk next, as he sits to the side and waits for them guys to get it on. He'll be sitting on the sideline a while, because that fight's not going to take place around April or May of 2021. So that means that the winner of that fight is not going to come back till late fall at the earliest. So that'll be a lot of time for Alexander Usyk to wait on the sideline. Maybe you put him on the undercard against some decent fighter, and if he probably provided that he win that fight, he'll still maintain his stance as getting the winner of Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. All that remains to be seen, but first AJ's got to get ready and defeat Kubret Pulev this Saturday. And I got him winning by 9th round stoppage over a game and brave Kubret Pulev. And we'll see if Anthony Joshua can rekindle that magic and come back and be what he used to be. And that was the top dog in the heavyweight division. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section about Anthony Joshua versus Kubret Pulev. Who you got in that fight? Let me know what you think and who you think is going to win that. And subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.